Welcome back to another Vintage Cube video. Today we opened decent pack. I think it's between a fetch land or pyrokinesis. And fetch land is really only good if I'm base red, so I think I'll stay open. Just pick up the Verdant Catacombs here. Alright, pick 2. We have another fetch. Also Quarry Steel Cutter. And yeah, not much else I would consider picking over a second fetch land. Yeah, I really love following fetches up with more fetches. Keeps you open as the draft goes on, so you can really see what colors are open, but it also leaves you open to domain 5-color strategy. And I see together as one here, so hopefully we can move in that direction. Maybe draft that if it wheels. Now there is a balance, which is definitely the best card in the pack. Um, yeah, other than that, there's a few decent lands. Overgrown Tomb doesn't help my mana a ton since Verdant already gets Golgari colors and really only fixes for green with my Marsh Flats. So yeah, I think I'll pick up a balance here. Alright, now there is a Force of Negation. It's also Starting Town. It's good land. And that can help with our 5-color plan. It's also Vicious Rivalry, which is a decent board wipe, but I don't think I want to pick that this early, especially since it's 2 colors, and I could definitely see it wheeling. So yeah, I think Force is probably the best card in the pack. I don't love Force, especially this early, considering I don't know if I'm going to be blue yet, but not much else here seems that good. Maybe Starting Town is the safer pick, but I don't think I'm going to miss Starting Town that much. Now we have Underground Sea, which turns both my fetches into blue. And I think I'm in for that. It's also Elspeth, which I really, really like. And we already have a reason to be in white with a balance. But I think a fetch that fixes both my, or a duel that fixes both my fetches for blue is a little too valuable. So I'll pick up the Underground Sea here. Okay, now there's a Meticulous Archive. And yeah, really only helps Catacombs get white. No, actually, it's not even fetchable off Catacombs, so yeah, that's not a super helpful land for me. It's also Stern Scolding, which I like. Also like Enduring Innocence. Um, but I think we'll pick up Stern Scolding here. It goes well with Force of Negation. And yeah, looks like a good start to maybe 5-color control. Now we have a Wasteland. And Wasteland's good, but I think it's at its worst in Domain because it uses up a slot in our mana base. So yeah, I think it is the best card here, but I might want to take like a Baleful Strix over it. I'll just grab a Baleful Strix here instead. Now there's Ren 6, which is great with our fetches. Raugrin Triome helps us fix for red and white, which is pretty valuable. But with double fetches, I think Ren 6 looks awesome. And another consideration is the fact that Verdant doesn't even fetch Raugrin, so yeah, I think I'm happy with that pick. Now we have an Ang, which I think is good. And not too much else. Echo Vions is okay. I'm not really crazy about wheels though. I'd maybe pick this if I had like an LED or some more discard outlets to make it work, but I think Ang is a pretty strong card, and I definitely have the mana to play it. And yeah, now that we pick up a Together as One, I think we founder lane, so I definitely want to heavily prioritize fixing. And for that reason, I think I'll grab a Overgrown Tomb here. Malevolent Rumble is also very powerful, but so far I haven't picked up a ton of really useful permanents, and I think I definitely just want to have rock solid fixing this game. Now there's a Vicious Rivalry, also an Impractical Joke. I think yeah, it's a little tricky pick. I think Impractical Joke is pretty solid though. Hits Planeswalkers, so yeah, I'll pick that up. Probably not a GT deck, but Thorn Spire or Verge is good. Yeah, any on-color lands help, and nice we wheel under City Sewers. Llanowar Elves isn't a zero either. I think ramp can be really powerful in these decks, especially getting towards something like Together as One. All right. Now we have a Xander's Lounge, which fixes for red with both our lands. So not a super premium land for us. It's also Hex Drinker, which is very good. Yeah, I don't think this is really a Guide of Souls deck. Confluence also solid. So yeah, I think I'm deciding between Hex Drinker, Confluence, or Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is super solid removal, but we did just pick up Practical Joke. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tricky pick here. Maybe I'll just grab Fiery Confluence. Yeah, I don't know. It was a difficult pick for sure. Now there's Mox Diamond, also a Teferi. Don't think I want to pick a Surveilland this early. And Elegant Parlor is only fetchable off of Marsh Flats, and Raucous Theater doesn't help our mana a ton. It's also Reanimate, which can be decent, but doesn't really look like we're doing that. And Mox Diamond, I think it's super solid. Great for fixing. Also can play out some of my threats a little earlier, so I think I'm happy picking that over some lands and a big Teferi. Now, Plateau looks pretty good. Can't get it with Verdant. It's a bit annoying, but it's definitely the best card here. Now there's Hallowed Fountain. Again, only Marsh Flats can access that. But other than that, I mean, there's like an Aang's Iceberg, maybe a Seer. So yeah, I think I'm happy picking a Hallowed Fountain. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help with our Verdant Catacombs, and Marsh Flats already can find untapped blue and untapped white. So it's not an amazing land, but I feel like just picking up a critical mass of lands in this deck is going to be valuable. And I could see myself wheeling another card from this pack, and I'm not too excited about any of the playables I saw. Okay, so Vi fixes for red with my Verdant Catacomb, and I can fetch it with both my lands. There's also a Godless Shrine, though, which gives my Verdant access to untapped white. So that looks good. There's also Oust, Dark Confidant, which are both decent, but yeah, I don't think they're better than a Black-White duel. Now there's a Leyline Binding, which, yeah, looks perfect for this deck. We're already looking great on fixing. I would definitely like maybe one or two more fetch lands and a few more duels to fill in the gaps with our colors, but I think I should be able to get Domain pretty consistently off the Leyline Binding. Now we have Sacred Foundry, which we don't need since we already have Plateau, and Indatha Triome. Both my lands already have untapped white, black, and green, so I don't think I really want that. And there's also a Mana Tithe and a Flame Slash. And Sparbuff Canal is just a decent land too, but I think I'd probably rather take the Tithe over it. Now we have Cut Down, decent land in Botanical Sanctum, and Snapcaster. This looks like a pretty decent Snapcaster deck. You'd have to pass up on Cut Down for it, which is a little bit annoying, but it's good with Tithe, good with Stern Scolding, good with Impractical Joke. And I could definitely pick up some more good targets for it. Also pitches to Force of Negation, which is powerful. All right, now this looks like a spot for either Sanguine Evangelist or Manamorphose. Maybe just Manamorphose. Yeah, just a cycler that helps with my fixing even more. Sanguine is decent too, but better in like a go wide white creature deck. And yeah, I don't really think we're playing Hogak or Reanimate, so happy picking up the Metamorphose and Big Teferi Wheels, so that's great. Definitely picking that up. And Miscalc is perfect too. Black Widow's another consideration, but another counterspell looks good here, especially in the 2-drop slot. Also pitches to Force. And here there's Smuggler's Copter with not much to crew it, so I guess I'll just pick up a Bone Crusher. Lush Portico doesn't really help my mana that much, so I'll just grab a Confidant. And now I think Treasure Cruise is a good way to utilize my graveyard. Good with fetch lands too. And we're not playing Crab. Okay, so we're a little low on power here. I think our curve's great, and I think all of our cards and spells are decent, but I would love like a Minskin Boo or a Fourth Ear Lingus. Okay, now we have a few considerations. Petra Triome is a decent land for us, but it's only fetchable off of Verdant. Right now, I think Marsh Flats is a 5-color land, but I believe Verdant Catacombs is missing blue. No, it still fetches blue. So yeah, I think I have 2 5-color lands. Okay, no, Verdant does not fetch red, so we need to look out for that. But yeah, I don't think we need Catcher Trom. I think I'd rather play like a Vista. But I might not want to play one of each basic anyway. We already have a Hollowed Fountain, so Tundra isn't that helpful. Lily is decent. So is Pest Infestation. Yeah, this looks like a good spot for Pest Infestation. Not the best pack one, but I think I'm going to be happy playing that. Okay, now we have a Savannah, which is a decent land for us. It's also Bubble and maybe Library. I'm hesitant to draft Library though. Same reason I sort of passed on Wasteland. All our lands matter, and yeah, even one colorless land can kind of hurt our mana base a little too much. So maybe we just grab Savannah here. Decent land, and also fixes untapped white for Verdant, which don't think I have yet. Actually, I don't think I even have access to white yet off Verdant, so yeah, I think Savannah looks great here. Right now we have Seeka's Chariot is a decent threat. Rafine's Tower fixes blue for Verdant. Volcanic Island is not a great duel for our deck. Neither of my fetches can find it. Also have Deathrite, which is decent with my fetches, but I only have two. Let's see. How am I doing on playables? I have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, what, 19 playables? Okay, 20. So yeah, still need a few more, but maybe I just grab a Rafine's here. Make my mana that much better. Might be lacking interaction enough though to where an Infernal Grasp would be good. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, here a Force of Will looks awesome. And now there's a Mana Leak. It's also a Tarn. I think Mana Leak is better than Scalding Tarn. I would love another fetch, but Mana Leak is great on its own. Also pitches to force both of our forces. Yeah, it's definitely a tricky pick. Right now, Tarn is a blue, black, red, white. Okay, so Tarn is every color but green. Yeah, difficult pick, but I think I will go with the Mana Leak. Yeah. Hopefully my mana is good enough for that to have been a good pick. I think I'm doing fine on mana. I'm a little light on threats, I feel like. Most of my spells are just interaction. Um, so maybe this is the spot to take like a Kaito, which is good with Baleful Strix, but I don't have a ton of creatures to ninjutsu with. It's also good at recycling Aang, but would I rather have like a pending? Probably. Yeah, and this is definitely the spot for that too, so. Now there's Counterspell, which is good, but puts a big strain on my mana. I think I can play Counterspell here. I think I want to be playing more blue than any other color anyway. Now there's a Leovold, just decent, but I don't have any wheels to go with it. So yeah, I think, what do we have? 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm at the point where, unless I see something really great, I just want to be picking up some more duels. I don't need untap green or blue off my fetches, so I think I'll just grab a Colonnade here. Tundra doesn't really help. But yeah, I think I'm definitely taking a land here. Right now, Ketria is only fetchable off my Catacombs and doesn't really help my mana a ton since, yeah, I already get untapped of all the colors. So I think I'll just grab Tundra. Now we have Grist, which could be decent. It's also just a bauble, but I am looking light on threes. Yeah, I'm not crazy about this card, but I don't think I'm main decking a Bauble anyway, and we could side in Grist against some creature matchups. Okay, I'm happy Infernal Grasp came back. I think I'll definitely play that. And Jennifer Walters looks pretty decent here too. But is it better than just another duel? Probably, considering I'm not really playing much black. Yeah, I'll pick up Jennifer Walters. Now we have an Omnath, which I can certainly play, and I have two fetches. Yeah, not crazy about this card, but maybe it gets in here. Could also just take a Generosent. Yeah, not really sure on that one, and I'm not reanimating, so. All right. I think the mana base got there. Our deck is a little underpowered, I think. But we have great interaction, and we can win off just advantage and like a big together as one, or slowly controlling the game with Teferi drawing us a card every turn. All right, so we're at 28 right now, so we need to cut um, 3 or 5 cards. So don't think I want a talisman. Probably don't need a Llanowar Elf either. I think Jennifer Walters looks good. Snapcaster, I think, definitely got there with all our 2-mana counter spells. Still like Baleful Strix and Dark Confidant, even though they're kind of our only black cards. I think Bone Crusher Giant is on the weaker side of our cards, so we can probably cut that. And then, other than that, I think everything looks great. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge to find these last 2 cuts. I think our mana might be good enough to where we don't need a Manamorphose. Treasure Cruise is good with both our fetches. And we also have a lot of instants and sorceries removal spells that go to the graveyard. So I think we want that. Yeah, if we cut anything, it's probably going to be like a 2-mana spell here. Maybe we just get rid of Baleful Strix. I think it's going to be a little hard to cast. And I mean, all it really does is cycle. We don't have any ninjas or anything like that, so I think I'm fine cutting that. All right, I'll bring back my lands. And let's see. I think I'm going to sort by color. Right, so we're predominantly blue-white with a little bit of black and red, and yeah, tiny bit of green in our multicolor spells too. All right, so we have 9 white, 9 blue, and the only place we're really struggling is green and red. Verdant doesn't fetch red, unfortunately. So we only have, I think, 5 sources. So I might just fill the deck with 3 more red sources and try that. So that brings us up to 8 red. So actually, maybe I'll do just a red and a green. Seems good. All right. So I think we'll try that, and I'll see you guys in match 1. All right, match 1, we're on the play against Ice Age coming, and it looks good. Turn 2 interaction, Leyline Binding. We can probably cast on 3 with Pest Infestation and Treasure Cruise to refill. So I think we'll start with a Verdant and fetch our Triumph probably. So we have all colors except green at the moment, so I guess Verdant needs to fetch green. And then Domain will be online by turn 3. So I guess here we just grab Overgrown Tomb tapped. And then we can play Underground Sea, hold up Miscalc. Force is a nice draw too. No play from my opponent. Not gonna cycle Miscalc though. Um, Mox Diamond doesn't really do anything currently. I think I'd rather play out Plateau to get Domain. Um, I guess it could just be a 0 mana card that goes to the graveyard to fuel Treasure Cruise, but I don't think we need to cast it now. Still not going to cycle Miscalc. All right, fortunately, we do not find a land, but I think I will play out Jennifer Walters here. Counterspell's fine. And Shama's Tidebinder does nothing, but they won't have the opportunity to cast it once Jennifer Walters comes down. I will trade my Jennifer Walters for Tashana's Tidebinder, I think. We'll see what they have here, though. Yeah, sadly we couldn't play Jennifer Walters while holding up Leyline Binding. Now they go with a Dak Faden. Yeah, I think we let them loot, and next turn we can Leyline Binding that and hold up Miscalc. Not really sure what my opponent's playing here. Might just be like blue-red tempo. Okay, maybe breach combo. So I like having force for that. But since they discarded it, maybe they're giving up on the breach combo. Okay, Savannah's a good draw. At this point, we already have Domain. Maybe I just go with a Mox here. I definitely get punished if my opponent has like a bounce spell. And we're protected with our Jennifer Walters here, so opponent can't respond to anything we're doing. So now we can Leyline Binding, targeting the Dak Fade. And I think we'll just pass here. Now we have Force Up. Could also just miscalc. VV gets around both, which is a little annoying. But we can counter a braid. I could use force on it, but I think it's probably better just to miscalc. So that will still trigger VV. So they'll have one extra mana, but still won't be able to pay for a braid. Yeah, I guess now that VV's online, that might have been the last opportunity to resolve a miscalc. So yeah, now I have nothing against their creatures, but hopefully they play something that I can force soon. Might be right to trade here, and I think it is. Also fills my graveyard for Treasure Cruise, which we could cast next turn. And yeah, I think that's probably the play. So Treasure Cruise costs 8, and we have 4 in the graveyard and 4 lands, so we have exactly enough. Alright, draw 3. And then we have Force Up, and hopefully we can draw into some removal. If we draw a island, we can Stern Scolding, but yeah, I'm just gonna counter their force, pitching Stern Scolding. Oh, that's right, it's only on their turn. Man, this card is so bad. Alright, so they get to counter my Treasure Cruise, sadly. Oh man, Force of Negation is just such a bad card. Alright. I mean, at best, you're just 2 for winning yourself. It's super narrow, only hits non-creatures, and you can't even protect yourself on your own turn, which is like the best part about free counter spells. Unfortunate. Together as one is good, but we're still a ways away from it. And yeah, I don't see much of a reason in casting Pest Infestation here. So I think I'll just pass holding up my counter magic again. Aether Spellbomb, fine. That gives me a target for Pest Infestation. Definitely need to find an answer for VV. But Together as One could definitely help us if we get there. Doesn't look like our opponent has anything else here. Alright, hopefully we can draw some lands. Infernal Grasp is good too. Hope this is not a counterspell, because my useless Force of Negation can't do anything to it. Awesome. Oh my god, this card is so bad. That was a big misplay from me. I should have just waited for their turn. Yeah, not sure why I did that. Oh well. So that was more my fault than Force of Negation's fault. I admit it. If I had just waited till their turn to cast Infernal Grasp on VV, Force's ability would have been up, so a little unfortunate there. Alright, we are on a 2 turn clock now. And yeah, continually missing our land drops. I think I will fire off Pest Infestation now. just to make some chunk blockers, because if I draw a land next turn, I'm going to want to cast a fairy. And tucking VV is actually going to be a great answer, because we can Stern Scolding it on the way back. Third path's a good enough target, though. Okay, we're definitely still in this game. Any land is just an incredible draw, but our pests are enough to hold off VV for now. And then if we can get to 6 mana, I think we probably can win. Alright, Fiery Confluence does not do much, but maybe I just spend my mana here. Yeah, just hit my opponent for 6, I guess. So yeah, any land still gets us out of this. I'm pretty sure we started with a 3-lander too, so this is a little bit crazy. Yeah, Force is definitely the MVP of this one. It's been my good luck charm, just sitting in my hand doing nothing. Alright, we chump again. Right, miss on the land again, unfortunately. Still not out of it though. VV can't quite kill us. And we might be able to force something here. Yeah, can't do anything to a Malcolm. Yeah, I mean, just I think if I drew a land in my last 8 draws, this would definitely been different. I can't complain too much though, because I messed up with the force. Sorry, with the Infernal Grasp using on my turn, allowing them to counterspell me. Right, I think we lose at this point. Even bouncing VV with Teferi doesn't do anything. So our only draw is Balance. Looks like we finally get to force something. Nice. Alright. See if we draw Bounce. Nope, just a mana leak, so yeah, that'll do it. Alright, unfortunate match 1. We had the tools to beat them. Just, yeah. I needed to draw land. So yeah, it was definitely a spot where Mox Diamond hindered us a little more than it helped. But even with the horrific draw, I should have been able to Infernal Grasp the VV my opponent played. On the play, not a good hand. And this hand looks great. This doesn't look like the best spot for Fiery Confluence. And I don't think I want to ship a land, considering I have a Mox Diamond. But the play might just be getting rid of Mox Diamond. Yeah, I don't have anything that's going to be that exciting to ramp out. And I already have all my colors. Although I guess I'm probably not getting red off this fetch, so yeah, maybe I will just get rid of a Fiery Confluence. Alright, and then we can Surveil plus Diamond, I guess. You could wait on the Mox too. But Mana Tithe looks good. So yeah, hopefully we can counter like a 2-drop with our Tithe, and then maybe a 3-drop with Miscalc. Hopefully no turn 1, but I'd be fine with like an Aether Spellbomb if they have it. They don't, even better. Okay, now I think we play a Marsh Flats, and yeah, I'll just go ahead and play a Mox Diamond out too. And pass. See if we can Mana Tithe something of our opponents here. Yep, nice. I will Mana Tithe the Spider Woman. Oh man, this card is so much better than Force of Negation. Alright, we'll fetch. I guess we need maybe Plateau here is the best. Yeah, we don't need blue-black. Savannah's fine too. I don't think it matters a bunch though. I guess our Verdant Catacombs can't fetch Plateau, so maybe we just grab that. Yeah. Sweet. We draw another land, so 1 land away from Teferi is good. And pass the turn. So if we can miscalc another thing here and then resolve it to Teferi, I think we're looking great. Fine, just passing it back to my opponent though. They don't want to spend their mana, they don't have to. Malcolm, I will counter. Alright, sweet. We got nice value off our counter spells. Now, I'm really hoping for a land. Yeah, I thought that this deck would have a few problems, but casting its spells was not one of them. I have like all 2-drops, 2 3-drops, and like a 4, 5, and a 6. So I've been kind of getting screwed on my land drops a little bit. I would love to see an artifact to cast Infestation here, but no, looks like they're just holding up a counter spell. Snapcaster is a great draw. We can hopefully counter one of their plays next turn with a recycled Miscalc. And then the 2/1 can also protect my Teferi. Opponent also missing on land drops. And they pass the turn again. Find a mountain, but I'm going to hold off on Teferi. This looks like a pretty obvious counterspell. I guess I could have tried to play out a Pest Infestation, but Snapcasting a Miscalc is a great use of my mana anyway. Perfect. So unless they have a Force of Negation, this should work. And even if they do, we get a Teferi next turn. Yeah, I will, I guess just Mana Tithe maybe? Yeah, no reason not to. Plays around Spell Pierce. Although they can't really have Spell Pierce, can they? Counter the deck. And then hopefully we can resolve this Teferi next turn. It felt like they were thinking about whether they wanted to force that play or not, though. So it might not be the worst idea to just lead on a pest infestation for 2. I kind of like that better. Really feels like they have force. I guess I can attack first. Not that it really matters. The only thing they can have here is force, since they're tapped out. Actually, maybe Treasure Cruise is just better. Yeah, I have the mana for it. I'd obviously like to resolve this, but okay, nice we do. Can play out a Underground C2, hold up Stern Scolding. And this might be where Force of Negation shines. This looks like a really good spot for us, though. Nice, VV gets countered with Stern Scolding. I guess they have a counterspell for it. Maybe not. Yeah, it's strange that they tap their mana. Okay, LED. So possibly setting up for a breach combo, which we can deal with a force next turn. And we can hard cast it by untapping lands with Teferi. They can't combo off now. Just gonna Soul Guide, I guess. Yeah. I already used my graveyard, so. Alright. They go for the Stern Scolding. And now hopefully we can resolve the Teferi. But I'm still a little bit suspicious of a force. Messed up tapping mana there a little bit. There we go. Into Teferi. And then I can Surveil off Verdant first. And then uptick Teferi. Alright, nice. Oh, I guess we already found our Surveil land. So yeah, I'll just grab a Godless Shrine. I could grab our Fiend's Tower, but I kind of like the idea of drawing a Cycler in the future. And we do not need to pay life into this. Now we just draw. Forest. Swing for 2, and hold up Force. Alright, now I can just kill their artifacts. And yeah, I could do it with Pest Infestation or Fire Confluence. I guess I'll start by drawing. Going with a Tidebinder. Don't have any instant speed responses to this. But that's fine, I can just, I guess, swing first. And then Confluence destroying LED and killing Tishana. My Snapcaster's gonna die too, but I'm not that worried about that. Fiery Confluence, destroying an artifact and doing 2 to everything. We'll get rid of LED. And then I think I'll just wait on Pest Infestation to cast it for a bunch of mana on a future turn. What's this? Brain Freeze? Lose focus. Do they replicate it or no? I could pay 2, but that could give them the opportunity to kill me next turn with Brain Freeze Breach. Yeah, I mean, it's not super likely that the last 2 cards in their hand are Brain Freeze Breach. Yeah, no, I think I'd rather hold up Force than potentially lose to Breach combo next turn. And we have plenty of answers to Shoshana in the future. Can also hold up Snapcaster to keep our Teferi alive until we find them. So that was a little weird. Opponent cycles off Soul Guide. And let's see if they have it. Yeah, I think they know that we're holding up a counter spell. So that lose focus kind of felt like they were trying to tap me out for the opportunity to combo off. And a braid targets Snapcaster. That's fine. So now Teferi might die to Shoshana's Tidefinder if we don't find anything for it. But I guess we can cast Pest Infestation, killing their LED next turn. So we'll have a few chump blockers there, and opponent actually opts to attack face, which is interesting. Okay, so I guess they didn't have the combo. Interesting that they would lose focus, a spell that I could pay for, but whatever. All right, I think we do fire off Leyline Binding against a Deshana here. And that allows us to draw off the fairy. All right, we draw. Renin 6 can get back Verdant. So yeah, I'll just Renin 6 here. Might win this game by alting to fairy, honestly. I think Treasure Cruise is probably worth forcing. Although I'd be really surprised if Brain Freeze Breach isn't their win con. And in that case, we definitely want to save Force. But we have a lot more counter spells in our deck. So yeah, I think I will force this. Yeah, I still have Force of Will and Counterspell in my deck. Also have a Miscalc as well. And yeah, Miscalc would definitely be enough to stop a Brain Freeze Breach combo as well. Colonnade's good. Start by drawing. And Practical Joke, not super helpful. So right now we have Pest Infestation 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we could do Pest Infestation X equals 4 if we fetch. So we get Savannah. Right, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, so X equals 4. Killing LED. All right, so we just have to hope they don't naturally top deck another piece of the combo. And that would only win the game if they already had LED or Breach in hand. And opponent decides that their best course of action is discarding their Frantic Search. I guess that does sort of counter Pest Infestation, so maybe I should have targeted my Mox Diamond too. Yeah, I definitely should have. I kind of forgot to consider the fact that they could just fizzle the spell. My bad. But now we get back Verdant. And next turn we can thin our deck even further. But I think I'll lead on Colonnade. We'll untap 2 blue here. Alright, yeah, that was definitely a misplay. If I had just targeted Mox, I would have 8 pests right now. Storm Chaser is not a big deal. And they get to return Frantic Search to hand, which is also fine. Alright, so now we can alt to Fairy. But maybe it's better to hold on to that. I think I'll start by casting Impractical Joke on the Otter. And then I will draw up to Fairy. And then next turn I can alt, keeping Teferi around. I think my opponent is probably going to try to use Storm Chaser's talent to get to level 3. And if they use their turn doing that, we could just tuck the talent. Now I think we just cast Omnath here. And see what we draw. Together as one is awesome. So now I guess we just uptick Ren and 6 to get closer to alting. And untap some lands. So right now we have 8 power with Omnath plus Celestial Colonnade, plus another 5 off together as one. And Time Twister. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying. See what we draw into. Alright. We draw into some gas here. So we could maybe miscalc or Manalika play here. Could also pitch Aang to um, Force of Will, but I think Aang's going to be pretty solid here now that we can water bend to transform him. And this looks like a good Mana Leak target here. But Displacer Kitten we can just Impractical Joke, so I don't think I'm going to waste a counterspell on that. Okay, so opponent could blink Storm Chasers, but that would put it further away from level 3. Looks like that's what they're going to do, though. So they do make another Otter. Yeah, maybe I should have countered Lion's Eye Diamond, but we can just kill it with Pest Infestation next turn. Alright, so now I think we Emblem to Fairy plus Together as One for everything. And I can't imagine we would lose after doing that. Right, now we get to pretty much wipe their board. I'll start by killing their lands. Now we can... Okay, nice, they concede. Alright. Belfast Tricks might come in, honestly. Oh, no, my opponent concedes. Definitely interesting. I guess they had enough of the control matchup. Alright, match 2 against BB. Do not think I can keep this hand. And this is a bit better. Not great, though. Get rid of Mountain. Alright. And we draw another land, unfortunately. So I think I'll start off with finding a Surveil. And then next turn we can cast Leyline Binding off Savannah. So that's good. But now they do have Mother of Runes up, so yeah. Pretty rough now that we don't have an answer to that. And opponent just casually playing like the top 10 best cards in the cube. Okay, Spider Woman's fine. Oops, forgot to fetch. Didn't forget to fetch, but I just misclicked, so. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been casting Leyline anyway, so I guess that's fine. But we do draw another land, so. That could have been averted. Now we will fetch this turn. Yeah, if I see a good 3 here, I'm just going to concede, though. But we still do have a balance, so. I guess it's not over yet. Third Inspector's fine. Right. This time we get to fetch. And nice, we get to get rid of another land. Another land. Okay, so we started with a 5-lander. And we have drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands? No, 4 lands. Alright, so I guess I'll Marsh Flats to thin my deck a little more and fuel my Treasure Cruise. And this could fetch a tap land of some kind. So next turn we get to cast Treasure Cruise, which is good. And yeah, hopefully that can find us a balance, which we really need here. Crack's super annoying too because they can just bring back their Spider Woman even if I balance. Um, Inty, it's fine. Here's where I could really use a Mox Diamond. Opponent swinging out. And they discarded planes. Finding Soul Ring. Okay, yeah, my opponent has some good power in this deck. And I cast Soul Ring. And we will fetch Plateau, probably. Right, now we can draw our 8th land and cast Treasure Cruise. Oh, I guess I'm one off, my bad. Alright, opponent decides to discard Luminarch Aspirant. And they find a plane, so it's definitely an interesting choice. And I take 7 here, so if I don't top deck balance, I lose. And Parallax Wave can save their board from balance, so that will be game. Alright. I think we have a decent matchup against aggro. Probably want to put in a Bone Crusher, maybe a Baleful Strix as a good blocker. And then we can take out Force of Negation, I think. And then seems like a decent matchup for Pest Infestation. Um, Jennifer Walters didn't seem that good. I don't think they're really casting spells on our turn, so I think we try this. And we're on the plate. His hand is missing blue, but we do have turn 2 domain with a Leyline Binding and also Impractical Joke. And Fiery Confidence could be good later, so I think this is borderline unkeepable, but the early interaction probably makes it good enough. And once I find an island, I can cycle with Baleful Strix and also hold up a great counterspell. So yeah, start with Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass. No Mother of Runes this time. And nice we draw land, that's good. Alright. Opponent with a Voice of Victory. Fortunately, we can't respond to that with the Leyland Binding, but I think I'd rather cast Impractical Joke anyway. Yeah, sadly, our only white land is our only red land, so we can't hold up Leyline Binding, but That's not a big deal. And yeah, drawing a lot of blue. So we currently only have one castable spell in our hand, which definitely sucks. Balance was a good draw, though. I think we'll pass here. I could Leyline Binding the Glimmer Lens if they play a hasty creature, but then maybe set up a good balance in the next few turns. And opponent has a Pyroglyph. Yeah, I think I'll just fire off a balance right now, probably. Or maybe I hold on to it, to be honest. Right now I can just Infernal Grasp the Pyroglyph. And balance does make me discard my hands, basically, so yeah. Typically this would be a good matchup for balance, but not when I can't draw my lands. Abandoned Air Temple is very annoying. Opponent is for 2 again. It's fine. Alright, they put a counter on their Rebel. Alright, so at least they're running out of things to do as well. Okay, it's varies exactly what I needed. Yeah, man, I don't know. Um, I guess I'm just at the point where I have to Leyline Binding a Rebel token. At least I won't have to discard a hand size next turn. I'll let my opponent activate their Air Temple first, though, before I kill the Rebel. Okay, they have a Parallax Wave, and that is fine. Doesn't save the Rebel token for my Leyline Binding, which I think I do have to cast now. Blue land would be awesome here. Okay. Right. Yeah, balance is our only castable spell, so I could cast a balance and discard 4 cards, but that doesn't seem that good. Alright, Omnath. So yeah, we're discarding a hand size. Probably just get rid of balance, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's any point where I'm going to want to discard my entire hand. Ah, it's so frustrating. Ah, and they get the Monarch. This just could not be worse. And they can save their jailer from a Fiery Confluence or something with Parallax Wave. So now the aggro deck gets to draw 2 cards a turn and exile any creature I play. Okay, we draw land finally. Not one we need though. Guess now we can Fiery Confluence. Doesn't really do anything though. And yeah, we can't Omnath. Can't do anything else. I guess we just confluence. Mm, no, I'll just pass the turn. My opponent could play into it a little more by casting a few more creatures. I think I will have to fire it off next turn though, because they'll have access to Abandoned Air Temple. But ah man, maybe that's a misplay because they're gonna have Air Temple up next turn anyway, even if they play a creature first. Yeah, like I have I think 10 blue sources, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And maybe I should have mulliganed, but against Boros aggro, like I don't really think it's a good idea to get rid of a hand with 2 lands and 3 cheap removal spells. And I mean, it's gotten us this far, but yeah, I think somewhere in the last 9 draws, I just needed to find a single beneficial land. All right, opponent plays out a huge Jackrabbit, and yeah, this is over. There's the blue land! Nice and tapped, just how I like it. Alright, match 3. Alright, we're on the play. It looks good. Alright, start with the tapped Godless Shrine. Next turn we can play Dark Confidant, hopefully find a blue source. I like Force in this spot. Allows us to get rid of our blue spell that we otherwise wouldn't be able to cast. Okay, Orcish Lumberjack's a little bit scary. But we have Leyline Binding for whatever threat they put out, so I'll still just Dark Confidant. And if it's like a big Planeswalker, we can force it. Probably pitching Stern Scolding at this point. Okay, so they didn't have the forest for Lumberjack. So just playing a tapped land. And yeah, I think I'll keep my Dark Confidant. And a tithe is good. A little less good revealed. Yeah, I'll just swing here. And pass the turn. So now opponent is basically taxed on everything they do by 1 mana. Okay, Faithless Looting. Don't think I want to force that. Weird deck from my opponent. Looks like Domain with some sort of Tendrils combo and a Thopter Foundry combo. So, yeah, we can just tie this. Not really sure why they're letting us do that, but it's fine. Wow, and they attack with Lumberjack again. Maybe Magic Online feels bad after the last game. Okay, we find a blue land. Nice. And yeah, I think I'll actually just discard it with Mox Diamond. And we'll swing with Confidant. And pass turn. We could have Omnathed, but I think holding up one of our spells here is better. Yeah, it's perfect. Stern Scolding target. And I'll let them swing with Orcish Lumberjack again. Alright, opponent down to 1 card in hand. And they've pretty much done nothing all game. I'd love a fetch here for this Omnath. But yeah, I think we still just Omnath. Yeah, fortunately we couldn't play the land after. I didn't realize that I didn't have the right mana for Omnath, but that's fine. Okay, now we have Verdant for Omnath next turn, which is good. So we'll have full domain next turn with Rafine's Tower or Verdant. This I think is worth forcing. And now we can start swinging with Omnath too. Okay. I think I'll find a Surveillant with Verdant. Oh, that's right. I got rid of my Surveillant to Mox Diamond. Now we can cycle with Omnath mana. Guess I'll leave up blue. And we find together as one. Nice. Yeah, I'll cast that with the remainder of our mana, right? Yep, we have exactly enough. And we have domain as well. Nice. And we'll just go face. Awesome. Yeah, like I would have loved these draws against an actual real opponent, not the guy playing Tendrils, Faithless Looting, Thopter Foundry. Like this is how my deck should be functioning. Okay, flashback Faithless Looting. So, opponent's really heating up here. All right. So I don't think their deck really does anything. So I'm happy keeping this the way it is. Baleful Strix could be a consideration, but I guess they do have some combos, so I don't really want to cut any of my interaction or anything. And they had a paradoxical outcome in there too. Um, so I don't know, maybe they drafted like 3 mocks and we just haven't seen them yet, but definitely an interesting deck from our opponent. All right, likely final match against Lucky Magic Owl. And this hand looks all right. Needs a little bit of help, but I think it's good enough to keep. Put it with a turn 1 Faithless Looting. Ditching 2 lands. Alright, we draw a Tundra. I think I'll just play a Godless Shrine tapped. And then I can hold off a Mox for now. Alright, Wish Claw. So we saw Tendrils and Sword of the Meek or Thopter Foundry out of their deck, so I'm guessing it's one of those combos. Miscalc was a great draw though. So yeah, I think I'll just play Tundra here and pass. VV, we can probably just miscalc. I was considering just Leyline Binding it, but that would waste our mana this turn and next, so. Okay, nice. We drew a random 6, which is great with the Mox. So we can play Forest, Mox, getting rid of Thornspire Verge into Ren and 6, bring it back. And now we have Domain. Well, not quite yet. We're still missing a mountain, but we can cast Leyline Binding for 2. I think I'm alright with their Wish Claw sticking around for now. I could use it to grab like Together as one. And Leyline Binding can deal with the combos that I've seen out of him so far. Mana leak's good. I'll just uptake Ren and 6 again. And pass. So now we can hardcast Force if my opponent can get around Mana Leak. So there's one of my opponent's Mox, so their deck's starting to make a little more sense, but now I'm seeing Oath of Druids, which makes absolutely no sense at all. Agatha's Soul Cauldron can exile Vivi, which is kind of annoying. So maybe we just miscalc. But we can just miscalc the creature they play too, so that's fine. And yeah, definitely using it on a Witherbloom Apprentice. So it looks like combo soup for my opponent, sort of. And nice, opponent concedes. Alright, that was definitely a very weird draft. I think our deck was pretty decent. We had great fixing, some good interaction. I think we're low on threats for sure, but Together as One really got it done in a lot of our matches. Yeah, match 1 was a good game, but game 2, I just had some of the worst draws of my entire life against Porous Aggro, so that wasn't super fun. And then I have no idea what our opponent was doing in that last match. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.